We back. Welcome back, everybody, to the Below Average Joe's UFC podcast, episode 12. It's the breakdown, the Friday episode you've all been waiting for. Alistair Overeem going up against Augusto Sakai. Dom, how we doing, brother?
Doing great. It's the weekend.
It's the weekend.
It's time to get rocking and rolling.
Mm-hmm.
The UFC is churning out the events, keeping us busy.
They are.
And it's time for another preview. You
Yeah.
know how it be.
I do know how it be. This is the end of week 4 now.
Week 4. Next week will be our 1 month.
1 month anniversary.
Yeah. Think about it.
It's cute.
It's wild.
But overall, good week, though. So far, I mean, I guess technically it's not the end of the week, but
Been a good week, man. What about yourself?
good. You know, just working a lot, but happy to be able to take some time to get into the studio with
Back
you.
into the studio.
Yeah, and focus on something that I really enjoy.
Oh, yeah.
That's not scrolls and
Yeah.
compressors. It's,
Right. It's people punching each other in the face.
Yes.
We love it.
Yeah, we do.
Woo!
But before we get into the fights, it's time for the news.
The news.
We have more news this episode. Quite a bit more, actually.
More than the last episode.
Yeah,
that's
for sure. But we're going to start, actually, with Tuesday night. Dana White's Contender Series.
You already know.
Dom, you've kind of got the reputation now. You're the contender guy of the two of us, which I hate to, like...
Tuesday nights are becoming my favorite night of the week.
I hate that I'm becoming so bad at, like, catching these, but...
It's all right. It's all right.
I want to hear your thoughts.
First off, I just want to say, Daniel DC Cormier is back in action after his loss to Stipe. He was on the commentary team, his first time ever doing the Contender Series. It was good to have him back on the booth.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a really great commentator, and I'm really excited to see like how this next chapter of his post-fight career kind of works out, and like him and Ariel Helwani changing up their podcasts and stuff. I think there's a lot of big things coming.
I really like DC as a
Yeah.
commentator. I think he might be my favorite of the like former fighters or current fighters that are also commentators.
Right.
Like him and Michael Bisping are probably my two favorites, which I know saying Michael Bisping may not be the most popular choice, but
Bisping's good.
he is. But like I like them more than, I mean, you got Dominic Cruz, you got Paul Felder. Who's the other one? I feel like I'm missing one there.
Like former fighters.
Yeah, like
Dan Hardy's one.
Dan Hardy. Okay, that's probably the other one. But overall, like Daniel Cormier is probably the best.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah. Anyways.
Oh, Dominic Cruz.
That's what I said.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I think I did.
If not,
If not,
he
that's
isn't.
who-
But you probably did.
Yeah.
He's really good too.
Yeah. So anyways.
But
continue.
yeah, DC was back on the commentary. Just a quick breakdown. Nothing too crazy. 5 fights. There were 3 contracts given out. So I'm not really going to touch on the first fight. It was a really good back and forth fight, but it was a decision. I will say the winner of that fight was Tucker Lutz. He's 10-1 now, I should say. So he's now on a 10-fight win streak. Started his professional career 0-1. He's won 10 in a row.
Nice.
So look out for that guy. But again, no contract awarded there. Second fight of the night. This guy, I've never became such a fan of a fighter so quickly. I'm just going to say it. William Knight, light heavyweight fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it was his second time on the Contender Series. His first fight on the Contender Series, he won in the 3rd round after coming back from being down on the scorecards. So, they didn't award him a UFC contract, but they awarded him a developmental contract, which basically puts him on one of the regional circuits that the UFC monitors. So, like, he got to fight on Fight Pass.
Okay.
And he went 2-0 with that organization.
That's what like LFA does.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. Like for women, Invicta.
Right.
Those are kind of like the minor leagues
Yes.
of the UFC, essentially.
So he had a contract, but he didn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of deal. So they brought him back this past Tuesday. He gets taken down early. He's, trying to survive on the ground. Gets up, and then lands elbows, as they mentioned on the broadcast, is what they called him. So he's got his back up against the fence. Cody Brundage was trying to take him down. So you're kind of picturing that, right? And he's wrapped around Williams' waist. Williams brings the elbows. Boom, boom, while his head's right there. Literally knocked him out cold. So it was a TKO in the first round, 2 minutes in. William Knight is 8-1, all 8 wins, KO TKO.
I do want to just point out, I find that very interesting what you said about that was his second time, first time gets a developmental deal. In a lot of ways, this was a lot of pressure for him.
Yeah.
Even more than the average Contender Series contestant, because a lot of times this is their first fight in the promotion. It's like, all right, I just got to go in there and at least win, and we'll go from there and hopefully get a contract. But this guy was already on there, didn't get the they didn't go all the way with him. They were like, okay, we like you, but we don't think you're ready yet.
Right.
So now they bring him back on there, which to me says it's like, all right, sink or swim.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, sure, he probably earned it. Like, he was still...
Yeah, there's like those pros and cons. It's like the UFC believes in you, but at the same time, if you blow this opportunity, you're probably not going to get it.
I mean, think about it. You get the developmental deal. You go and fight twice, and I'm assuming it was LFA. I don't know if that's...
I don't remember which one off the top of my head.
But there's multiple. But,
yeah.
You know, one of those. He comes... So then they're like, all right, we're going to offer you another fight, but it's back on the Contender Series. There has to be a lot of pressure knowing that if you don't win or if you... just don't look great in the fight, don't make a statement. Who's to say that they keep you on that developmental deal? Because it's like twice you didn't impress enough to be given that full roster spot.
Right.
Not many guys. I'm pretty sure there's only been one who's been on 3 times, right?
Yeah, well...
Wasn't that last week?
Well, Jamie Pickett just recently had that 22-punch combination.
Yeah. That was
he was 0-2. He hadn't even won on the Contender, if I remember correctly.
Which is so uncommon, but you're seeing it more and more of these guys that fight once on the Contender Series and then they get brought back to do the Contender again.
I think it really just shows that, like, because I think Dana White knows, like, not everybody's going to go out and perform to the best of their ability every night. So, like, you can see that this guy has all the potential in the world, but he might get knocked out. He might get caught in a submission. But, like, you know how skilled they are, so you want them to
Or you at least see the potential.
Exactly.
It could be anything. It could be his character, his actual athleticism, or something that he's doing really well, whether it's jiu-jitsu or his boxing or his kickboxing, wrestling, whatever. But if he doesn't put it all together that night, it's like, okay, I like that, but we can't... Like, have they ever awarded a full-on contract to someone who's lost a fight? I don't think so.
That's a good question.
I'm pretty sure last week that flyweight fight, a lot of people wanted both guys to get a contract.
Yeah.
They still didn't give the guy who lost. Now, not to say that they won't bring him back, but in that moment, I don't think that's ever happened. And it would be it'd have to be a pretty awesome fight for both guys. It'd be like talking Forrest Griffin, Stephen Bonner type performance. Would be.
They're not just going to, like, hand out contracts.
No.
Before I move on to the third fight, I do just want to say William Knight, like, post-fight interview with Lorisenko and everything, one of the nicest, most humble. He just seems like an awesome person. Like, he literally became such a huge fan of him in 20 minutes. Like, it was crazy. So, William Knight, second fight of the night, light heavyweight, be on the lookout for him. He won, got the contract. Third fight was Ronnie Lawrence versus Jose Johnson. Nothing too crazy here. Ronnie did get the contract, even though it was a decision, which you don't see too often. But he dominated from start to finish against a guy that was a very skillful striker. This is that guy I mentioned to you. As an amateur, went like 68-12.
Oh, yeah, that was crazy.
Had 4 belts at 4 different weight classes.
Yeah.
That's just, like, mind-blowing to me.
That's pretty wild.
But he got absolutely dominated by Ronnie Lawrence. Incredible wrestling, good control. He promised, I think, or it might not have been him, but one of them promised to finish their next time out. So Ronnie got a decision, or got the decision win and a contract. And then Jimmy the Brick Flick. Buddy, I was not impressed by anyone as much as I was with Jimmy the Brick. This guy is out of Oklahoma, a flyweight, again, a division that needs these stars. So just like last week, where we had those 2 guys going at it and they both arguably earned their contract.
Right.
Jimmy is a submission specialist. He has 14 wins. Or no, now he has 15 wins. 13 of those are by submission. In this fight, he had at least 10 submission attempts. And then he eventually finished it with an arm triangle in the 3rd round. Jimmy Flick, flyweight, be on the lookout for that guy. I'm going to be honest, I'd love to see him fight the winner of last week's crazy flyweight fight as both of their, like, official debuts.
Oh, that'd be pretty sick.
That would be so cool. So that was the last contract earned. And then there was a really good barn burner of a fight as the main event. very back and forth. I'm not really good with the names here, so I'm not going to attempt to do it. But I do just want to say, for the people that didn't get contracts and for a couple of the losers, Dana did mention that he wants to bring them back in November when they start the Contender Series again.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to mention that. But yeah, 3 contracts earned. And again, Tuesday nights, man, there's nothing better than Contender Series action.
Yeah, which is, I talked it up pretty highly, and I'm very upset at myself that it's hard, man.
Yeah.
You get it. It's tough with the work schedule right now to really make the time for it, because a lot of times I'm asleep.
Well, it's a time where you want to get sleep because you have to wake up so early.
Yeah, so it's tough to catch it right now, but I'm definitely a big fan of what they're doing with it, and I
Yes.
think the fact that they're able to keep it going, with everything going on right now, you have to really think about it. Like, COVID happens, most of these smaller promotions aren't doing fights.
No.
They can't.
And if they are, they're just now starting back
Right.
up.
So ultimately, this is going to basically force the UFC to really dig in and like take risk on guys
Yeah.
who maybe haven't shown like fully what they're capable of yet, or like it's more like taking a chance. So when you have these guys that at least show something, whether it's in defeat or in victory, but it's not enough, I think it's a very smart idea to keep bringing them back, because I don't think it in a way it like kind of waters down that concept of like the most dangerous job interview type thing, most violent job interview, where I always like the idea of it's like you get one shot.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to sit here and pretend like I'm some savage who just wants to see these
Right.
guys only get one shot at the best chance of a life they're going to have.
Well, and I think they said something crazy. I think over the course of the year, or at least the fall session, because they're doing like August, September, then they're starting it again in November.
Yeah.
There's going to be like 100 fighters that get a chance.
That's
And I just
crazy.
think that's awesome, you know?
Yeah, it's so cool, man.
And especially now when all eyes are on the UFC more than
Yep,
ever,
yep.
it's really a great opportunity for these guys.
Agreed. So any other final thoughts on the Contender Series?
That's Contender Series, man. Again,
Mhm.
Tuesday nights, if you have ESPN Plus, tune in.
Sure thing. And moving on, our first, I guess, news story of the day.
Oh, baby.
Our main event, this one's a little sad. Our main event for next week.
Yeah, I know you don't like this.
Thiago Santos, my boy, going up against Glover Teixeira. Unfortunately, Glover tested positive for COVID. Apparently he's 100% asymptomatic.
Yeah.
I'm assuming because of that. Their fight's being moved to October 3rd now.
At least they got it rebooked
Yeah.
semi-quickly.
So not sure if that'll still be a 5-rounder or if that'll be moved to the co-main for Holly Holm and Irene.
that is a
Aldana.
good question.
It should be the main event, but
But I wonder because they've been, Holly and Aldana, they've been training for 5 rounds.
yeah,
Did they take that from them?
I mean, Thiago and Glover have as well, but ultimately, Thiago and Glover is the
bigger fight.
But I think Aldana and Holm, if Aldana wins, I think that's, like, in a way, I think it's a title eliminator.
Yeah, I mean, for Aldana in a
Aldana
division that
especially.
needs contenders, yeah.
Not that, like, look, Holly Holm's great and all.
How many more title shots can she
I
realistically
really
get?
can't watch her in another title fight and
Yeah.
be, like, excited about it at
Yeah.
this point. And I really don't want to see her in the main event either. I
Yeah.
don't want to see a 5-round fight that's probably going to go to a decision. No offense to either woman in that fight. I mean, they're great, but I just think Santos and Teixeira is the more exciting fight on paper. It could end up being, hey, look, I could be completely wrong about both of those.
Yeah.
But all in all, point being, I'm very excited that this fight at least got rebooked, even though it sucks that I'm going to have to wait like 3 more weeks to get it. But that's what it is. It is what it is right now, right? You know,
Yeah.
it's the world we live in.
Exactly.
So they're making the best out of it, and they're getting these guys rebooked ASAP. So that's awesome. But yeah, do you want to give your thoughts on that? Just
I mean, you hit the nail on the head, really. I think it's going to be an incredible fight, so it's just a matter of when we get to see it, and we know
Yeah.
it's October 3rd.
yeah,
I am intrigued to see if they flip-flop main events.
yeah. I don't know if they will. So obviously we'll likely update you guys as we find that out. But Still got a couple more weeks before that
Yeah.
card. The new main event, I'm assuming, for next week's card is Michelle, the Karate Hottie Watterson,
Yep,
going
and
up
Angela
against
Hill.
Angela Hill.
That should be a
Hill-
fun fight.
It should be. Angela Hill's basically the Cowboy Cerrone of the women's division.
She's finally on a tear, like that
Yeah.
she really needs for that recognition.
Yeah.
And Michelle's kind of struggling right now, which
Michelle is
sucks.
struggling,
Big
and-
fan of her, so
She wanted to be the first mom
champ.
Mom champ. But yeah, overall, it should be a good fight as both women are kind of in. They're going on different slopes in
Yeah.
their careers right now, so it should be fun either way. But definitely disappointing to see that fight taken off. But it is what it is. We'll still
Yep.
get to see it hopefully. Next up, though, big one here, and this is big. It's big, but also like
Nah.
Brock Lesnar, the former UFC heavyweight champion, the former WWE superstar, He's a
Former
free-
NFL Viking.
Yeah.
NFL player for the Vikings, I mean. He's done it all.
He's now a free agent,
Yeah.
and
A lot of talks.
I don't know exactly where this conversation started, but basically Brock Lesnar's been working for the WWE for the past, basically since after UFC 200,
Yeah.
because they kind of got him on that fight in like that weird period where he was like not.
Well, he was a free agent again. He signed
Well, he
these
was he was like under contract, but not with the WWE. It was like a partnership
Yeah.
almost deal thing. Basically, I think they brought him in just to kind of save that card because
Yeah.
it had been decimated by people being stupid. But I guess what started this is they asked, there was like an interview with Scott Coker, the Bellator president. He's the Dana White of Bellator,
Yeah.
essentially. They asked him about it, and he said that he would be interested in booking Brock versus Fedor Emelianenko, who, for those of you who don't know, is potentially, like, if you go for all MMA, he's probably the best heavyweight in all of MMA history. He was a guy that made his biggest mark in Pride, a promotion I've talked about a few times.
Yeah.
But he's never fought in UFC. But there was always a lot of rumors about Brock versus Fedor because they were both still at the top of each promotion when Brock was
Brock
champ.
was champ.
So that was what kind of brought this up, and then they asked Dana White what he thought about John Jones versus Brock Lesnar. He said
All he saw was dollar signs.
he said he'd be interested if both guys wanted to do it. John Jones eventually ends up saying, "Brock, I'd whoop your ass too."
Yeah, he said, "I'll beat your ass too." That was so funny.
So ultimately, I'm curious, Dom, what your thoughts are on these potential matchups, and like realistically, what do you think is gonna happen here?
Well, I don't want him back to do all that dumb shit again.
You
Like,
talking about like the post?
I just think it's all stupid. Like, I'm not on the Brock Lesnar train for the UFC. What if I told you I am intrigued to see him fight for Bellator and fight Fedor, though? What would you say?
Why?
And my answer to that is, I don't really know. For some reason, so they're both like the same age.
Are they really,
Yeah, Brock's like 43 now.
bro?
I'm pretty
fucking-
sure they're almost the same age.
Bro, I'm so that.
I'm pretty sure Brock's 43,
Okay.
and Fedor is probably around the same age. You'll have to check Fedor.
Brock is 43.
Yeah, check Fedor for me real quick.
Bro,
I'm telling you.
I'm just.
How old is he? They're both 43. So listen, they're the same age. And to me, like, I don't. Again, the last time Brock was in the UFC, it was just a debacle. And it honestly made the UFC look terrible. Not that I'm saying I want him to come back to make Bellator look bad. I'm not saying that.
Right.
But like, if I'm talking like an actual fight that interests me more, I'm not interested in him fighting John Jones at all. Zero. Nilch. Nothing. But him versus Fedor, honestly, just seems fun. And for Brock, I could see him just being like, well, I've done the whole UFC thing. I've done WWE. I've done NFL. I've done collegiate wrestling. Let me go to Bellator and just try it out. But yeah, honestly, I just hope he doesn't fight at all, and he just goes back to WWE. And obviously, he's been a superstar there for 20 years now, which is crazy to think about.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, overall, that fight's interesting to me for some reason, but I don't want him to fight at all. I
Yeah,
think it's all just, at the end of the day, clicks on articles, to be
Yeah,
honest.
I realistically don't see Brock fighting again. They set it up for him versus Daniel Cormier.
Yeah,
And
don't get me started on
Dana
that.
just later was like, yeah, Brock just didn't want to do it.
I hated that moment. Absolutely hated it.
You know, we made fun of it. I did the whole post fight speech.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't even like look. It was very scripted WWE type stuff.
Yeah.
My takeaway from it, I thought Brock performed well with his scripted material.
Yeah.
But Daniel Cormier again running around like Wile E. Coyote, dollar signs sticking out.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like, dude.
Which it would have been awesome for DC.
And the
just
fact
to get
that and it was like upsetting because it's like our Stipe who had been the longest or the
it all happened after he got
most
knocked out.
title defenses in heavyweight history.
And it felt like they were just sweeping him under the rug.
Yeah,
That's what I think was annoying.
And I'm not sure what I wanted them to do. Like ultimately, he got knocked out. They weren't going to do a post fight interview with him. So I don't know what I was hoping they would do there, but I've softened up on it over time because it's just kind of funny now. Especially him like nearly breaking Joe Rogan's hand when he's
and the camera.
Yeah. Realistically, I don't think this is going to happen. But I'm surprised about the Bellator one for you because the Fedor fight doesn't really interest me. Maybe it's just because I'm a UFC guy. I know you are too. But maybe it's just because I'm not really like... Maybe it's because I just think there's a less than 0% chance that happens.
Yeah.
Bellator, in my mind, has nowhere near the amount of money to pay.
They'd have to break the bank.
To pay Brock Lesnar to fight? I don't think so.
Yeah, but I just don't want it to happen.
I will say, I actually am somewhat interested in him versus John Jones.
Really?
And what makes me interested in it isn't that I think Brock has a chance.
What makes you so interested in it?
I still think that it'd be a good idea to give John one fight before the title.
Yeah, Brett Okamoto and Ariel were doing kind of a back and forth on this yesterday. And they were Brett was basically like, I have no interest in Brock fighting. The only thing that would interest me at all is John Jones. I have 0% interest in anything else. And they kind of went with the same thing. So, like, if this were to happen, you get Stipe to fight Ngannou.
Right.
And John's warm-up fight, essentially, would be against Brock Lesnar at heavyweight.
That's a huge fight.
Yeah, it's a massive fight.
That's why, like, it kind of excites... Like, again, man, I'm a fan at heart. Like, I know we're diehard fans, so, like, we don't... You know, just because a Conor fight gets announced or a Nate Diaz or a Jorge Masvidal or Brock Lesnar fight gets announced, it doesn't automatically just make us go, oh, we're definitely talking about that card or watching that card. You know, we'll watch any doesn't matter who's fighting. But man, you know, I was talking about wanting John Jones to fight like a Curtis Blades or Derek Lewis or whatever, because just I don't know. I feel like that's something he would do. I feel like he wouldn't go straight for Stipe, even though he's pretty much saying otherwise.
Well, yeah, that'll segue us.
But I'm interested in the Brock fight. It's definitely like a sideshow. Like it's kind of like just
it's a money fight.
It's a money fight, yeah. But I'd be lying if I said it doesn't interest me just because.
Are there any what ifs for you?
Like what if?
What if Brock were to win?
God, that would be nuts.
Think about it.
I mean, I don't look. You know how I feel about John Jones going to heavyweight.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna
be the champ.
Yeah, but I mean, Brock at least like
it would be an
Brock is huge.
Yeah.
Like
steroids or not.
Again, this guy's never been he's never been a very skilled unless it was wrestling.
He's an incredible wrestler.
Yeah.
Like when we're not talking WWE wrestling, we're like legit
Division
national
I
champion
wrestler at Minnesota.
Yeah.
No, he's legit.
Yeah.
Wrestler, but he's never been a good striker. He's never. I mean, he didn't have much time. Like he kind of just started and immediately was fighting UFC.
When you're that strong,
but you see how far he got with that limited skill set and just being.
Well, it really makes you wonder. Like, what if he would have straight after the NFL went full on MMA? Imagine.
Isn't that what he did?
I mean, no.
When did he do the NFL?
I thought the NFL was after college wrestling. I mean, basically the point, regardless of when it happened, is imagine if he dedicated his craft and skill.
I want to make the timeline clear though. He went to WWE, was gone by 2004, and that's when he went to do the Vikings. Got cut. Last guy cut from their preseason team. So that was probably 05, 06. So I guess it was a couple more years before you would see him fight in MMA. But point being,
yeah, imagine
if he had just went straight away. Like, think about that heavyweight division he would have been going into.
Well, he could be the greatest heavyweight of all time.
Ooh,
think about it.
Hot take.
Anyway,
look, I'm just saying, with that limited skill set he had, incredible wrestling. Didn't really offer. I mean, yes, I know he's a powerful guy, but it's like he was. You know, when people were throwing shots at him, you know, he didn't have very good like
defense.
I guess he had like good. He was able to kind of scramble out of like exchanges, but he never had very technical defense.
Yeah.
It's just like hands up, like please don't hit me kind of
Yeah.
thing. It's just a guy who you could tell had not been working on striking that long.
Yeah.
And look at how far he got. You know, he was multiple time defending champion.
He was a beast.
So it excites me. It does. I mean, I know he's 43, and like again, he would be a heavy underdog, but the dude's still huge.
Yeah, they literally released betting odds on both of those fights. I don't remember them, but he was actually favored against Fedor.
He was favored against Fedor,
Yeah.
which can't say that surprises me. But all in all, it excites me because of how big he is, and he's still very athletic. I mean, he could definitely cause Jones some sort of problem. I don't think he would win.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that it's still. I think it would still add a lot of hype to or give Jones some credit going into a potential title fight with Ngannou or Stipe.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess that'll segue us into more about John Jones. He was being a very active little boy on Twitter.
Yeah, he's really like hit or miss.
Yeah.
He literally at first he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna take time, get my body ready, blah blah blah." Then all of a sudden, a couple days ago, he's like, "This is why the fight with Stipe makes sense, and why I should pass Ngannou." And he then told Brock he'd beat his ass as well.
I'll tell you what, man. You know, I sat here and told everybody that like the fight to make is Stipe and Ngannou 2. Jones needs to either fight one time at heavyweight or he needs to wait. He's very convincing. Like, I was sitting there like...
It's hard not to...
When he was sitting there talking about it, I went, damn, like, I might actually be wanting to see that more now. Yeah. And here's where I was thinking about it. Stipe dominated Ngannou in their first fight.
Yeah.
Right? For 5 rounds. Like, put on a clinic on how to beat him. And Stipe did an Instagram Live Q&A, or not Instagram Live, just a Q&A on Instagram, putting on his story and stuff. And someone asked him about Ngannou or Jones. And he said he didn't really address Jones. He just said the Ngannou fight didn't interest him because he had already proven, like, dominated him, shown how to beat him. And said he wanted to do boxing. Kind of weird.
I don't want that.
Stipe, don't do that.
Yeah.
But anyways, and I really thought about it. I'm like, because I still think Ngannou has earned another title shot.
Yeah.
But based on what we've seen in his performances, is there anything that tells us it would go any different?
I still get more nervous thinking about Stipe fighting Ngannou again than him fighting Jones.
You're crazy.
It's the fact that Ngannou has that one punch power.
Stipe could lose both.
Yeah.
But
I'm serious, dude. Ngannou's so strong.
No, I get what you're saying with Ngannou.
Like, we know Jones isn't just going to come out, hit Stipe with one right hand and knock him out. That just won't happen. But Ngannou has... What did we say Ngannou has for hands? Cherry trees?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like... Sorry, we had an interruption on set. But, yeah. Ngannou deserves it. I'd feel bad for him if he didn't get it because he's, like, literally the nicest guy.
Look, when I go back and watch the Rosenstruck fight...
Oh, it's awful.
It was so exciting watching it in the moment. But when you
if you watch it in slow-mo, Woo!
Ngannou's punches, again, I gave the comparison of like two kids who've never thrown punches
Yeah.
before fighting in the schoolyard.
Yeah, it's crazy.
No offense to him. The dude has literal trucks for hands.
Yeah.
But again, like I haven't seen anything out of him since that Stipe fight and then the Lewis fight after it that tells me that like he's like a better fighter now. I mean, he's a little leaner. Give him that. He doesn't have as much weight on him as he did before. And again, with that potential one strike, like all he has to do is hit Stipe clean one time, and
Exactly.
Stipe might be done.
Yeah.
So in that way, I get why. Like again, I'm still saying that I think that fight should happen first. But it was definitely John Jones was doing a pretty decent job convincing me.
Well, I mean,
let me put it like this: I think whoever wins that fight with Stipe and Ngannou is a placeholder until Jones decides he wants the belt.
Yeah.
That's just how I see it.
Did you see what DC said about Stipe and Ngannou too?
He said he thought Ngannou would win, didn't he?
He said that if Stipe doesn't take a long layoff again before he fights and rest his chin, he will get knocked out again. So basically saying, like, Stipe can't just turn around in January or February and fight Ngannou because he said his chin won't be healed up. He said he took too much damage in the 3 fights with him. So I was like, interesting.
It definitely seems like DC's trying to give himself a lot of credit there, but
Yeah, a little bit.
but I maybe he's right. I mean,
Well, his main argument was he took hard shots against Ngannou in January of 2018, then fought me in July, and I hit him with one shot, and he went to sleep. That was kind of like his reasoning. So when I thought about it that way, I was like, you have a good point, because if you look at the next 2 fights with DC, they were a year apart, and both times Stipe was taking the same exact shot and moving forward like he didn't even get hit. So he had a point, but at the same time, again, it's just like the power of Ngannou. I don't think it matters how long you rest your chin. He hits you one time and you're probably going to bed. So
yeah. All in all, honestly, no matter which fight gets announced, no matter hey, give me Ngannou Lesnar.
Golly.
Give me
I don't think the ring could hold those
give
two.
me Jones Stipe and Ngannou Lesnar right now.
A 2-fight main card pay-per-view. That's it.
I wouldn't mind. Like honestly, like I don't think Brock Lesnar is gonna fight again.
Yeah.
I don't. But I mean, look, the guy. There's something motivating him. It's not just money. Like he could make money doing anything.
Yeah.
And he decided to go to MMA.
Yeah.
So, does he really want his last memory in MMA being the Mark Hunt debacle?
Yeah.
Of 200, where he, it was the big excitement. I remember watching that first ever
199.
card I watched live, and they had the promo video, and
He's back,
he's
and
like, "Can you see me now?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Holy shit!" Like Brock, and like they had we hadn't heard anything about it.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere.
Yeah. So and then ultimately he tests positive for PEDs before and after the fight.
Yeah, and they let the fight go on anyway.
So
that's what. Anyway, I don't want to get into it.
Not a great look for UFC or
And
Brock
him.
Lesnar, but all in all, I would still be excited to watch him fight again. I just, maybe it's the WWE kid in me, but yeah. Anything else for that?
Brock Lesnar. I mean, at the end of the day, he's doing what he wants. People are talking about him, right?
Yeah.
So
He didn't even ask for it. He's a guy that does not do media. He doesn't.
That's how big his name is.
Yeah. Literally, it was just he's not under contract with the WWE, and all of a sudden it's like matchmaking.
Well,
paradise.
it's really one more thing, I guess, on him, and Ariel touched on this as well. He said it's smart on Brock. He purposely takes like these shorter contracts so he can become a free agent quicker and weigh all these options. And as soon as he's a free agent, look, within one day, Bellator, UFC, does he go back to WWE? There's podcasts about him. There's interviews about him. John Jones is talking about him. Like, if you're Brock, you're just sitting back, like, yep.
Sit back on your ranch and
Yep.
I don't know where I think he lives in Minnesota
Probably
or
does.
something like that. But
Like, so.
sit
yeah.
back drinking his Coors Light.
Yeah. That's Brock. That's the power of his name.
Yeah.
So.
But moving on from there, we have 2 big main events to announce. Probably, I would assume main events. First one, end of the year card.
Yeah.
Our
Long
boy
time coming.
Kamaru Usman the welterweight champion.
The welterweight king.
He's back, and he's going up against the guy he was supposed to fight on Fight Island, Mr. Number 1 contender, Gilbert Burns.
Absolute tear right now.
This is the fight for that division.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, love Jorge Masvidal, was really excited for that fight. Ended up being a bit of a letdown as a fight, but really showed that Usman's just that damn good.
Yeah.
People make fun of him for the foot strikes. I get it. Like, the foot stomps.
It's
I get it. I get it. Like, I get it wasn't a very exciting fight, and it may not have really helped Usman as far as his, like...
the argument really is, like, he took that fight on 6 days' notice, too.
Yeah.
And he did what he had to do to win.
He did. I mean, again, he's a power grappler.
Yeah.
Going up against a powerful striker.
Yeah.
I don't think you want to stay. I think it's a smart idea to not just stand with
He
them.
felt those kicks from Jorge, and he's like, nope.
Clinch up, stop your feet.
Yeah.
But this fight is so interesting to me.
This is a interesting
I mean, you
matchup.
know my feelings about it.
Gilbert Burns is about as well-rounded as they come.
Well, he is known for his jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, but he knocks people out.
But yet, he's been knocking people out.
Yeah.
Damian Maia.
His performance against Tyron Woodley
Nearly knocked him out.
He put on a show on the feet and on the ground. Hot take.
I think I know what you might say, and I'm going to agree with it.
He put on a better performance against Woodley than Usman.
Yep, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I agree. As far as like really show, like, okay, both guys dominated Woodley.
Yeah.
And the fact that Usman did it first and like really was like
that
shocking
shocked
because
everybody.
Woodley had been so dominant.
Yeah.
But when you really break down the fights, like Burns was showing a lot in that.
If we're talking on the feet, Burns 1 million.
I mean
that
Usman Woodley fight was literally just. I mean, Usman was just.
Burns had
Woodley
hurt 2 or 3 times.
That first round, especially, he nearly dropped him with a. Right
I thought
hand.
It was going to end.
And I was like, damn, because I really thought Woodley was good. I thought everybody was counting out Woodley.
A bounce back fight.
I thought he was really going to bounce back. I thought it was a smart fight to take. A guy who was surging a little bit, but didn't necessarily have. I didn't really think he had earned.
It was
that
like him
yet.
taking on Darren Till again.
That's in a way, it kind of felt like that. I felt like he maybe Burns was being pushed a little too soon. But
Yeah.
No,
not at all.
He's the real deal, man. And right now, I'm being honest, and I don't want to spoil this for.
You've been saying this.
My mind could change. I'm picking Gilbert Burns in this fight.
It's a fun matchup.
Just because he at least offers something to the wrestling.
Yeah. Well, and the jiu-jitsu.
That's what I'm saying. Like, saying when Kamaru goes for that, if he goes for the takedown.
Which he will. He will get it.
Like, Burns has something.
Yeah.
Something that's very at the same level that Usman has in his wrestling.
Yeah.
And then there's also the fact they were training partners for a long time. And we've seen that kind of thing before where when guys are training partners, they really get to learn a lot about each other.
Mm-hmm.
Now, sure, Usman knows a lot about Burns, too, from that. It's not just Burns learning Usman, but Burns has seen what can hurt Usman. He's seen what his weaknesses are. Sure, it's been a while since they've been training partners, but all in all, I think it's a very exciting main event on what's stacking up to be a great card.
Well, this is now the December 12th, Burns-Usman main event, or I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Co-main, Amanda Nunes and Megan Anderson.
Yeah, and it wouldn't surprise me if there's a third title fight.
Yeah, they like to stack the end of the years.
Yeah.
And if not, they're going to stack it with great fights no matter what. But there could be another title fight, potentially.
Agreed. But all in all, very excited.
But give me some Wei Li Zhang action on there.
Wei Li Zhang and Rose Namajunas.
Give me a little something. Give me 3 title fights to end the year. Anyway, that fight's happening finally. Hopefully, fingers crossed, nothing happens.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't want to say our last news story. There was one thing I didn't put on the sheet, but we get our first main event announcement, potentially. It's in the works. For our first card of 2021.
I'm going to be honest with you real quick before you announce it.
Mm-hmm.
I know I know I mentioned this to you, it didn't come out of left field as much, but to me, when I saw these tweets, I was like, huh? I was shocked.
Really?
I probably shouldn't be as shocked as I am, but it really caught me off guard.
I'm not very surprised. But UFC 257
I would
I'm
assume.
assuming.
Yeah, unless they do 2 pay-per-views.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's looking like we're going to be getting the rematch for the BMF belt. Jorge Masvidal, Nate Diaz, they're going to run it back. Dom, you just said, huh?
Yeah.
Tell the people why, huh?
I don't need to see this fight. Listen. The Stockton boys, 209, Diaz and Nick, they're great.
Yeah, train by day, Joe
yeah.
Rogan podcast by night all day.
They never have boring fights. But let's be real, and I think you can agree with me, that fight wasn't even competitive. Jorge was dominating him very badly. So I get Nate's, we all know what Nate said. I don't agree with the stoppage. I'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
I wish the fight wouldn't have been stopped. That sucks. Because Nate Diaz has a lot of scar tissue and he bleeds bad all the time. We know that. So that part I didn't like. But, like, Jorge was dominating that fight. Nate did say afterward that he felt him starting to gas. So he felt rounds 4 and 5 is where he was going to come on strong. But at the same time, I don't like that. Like, I know that's the most Nate Diaz thing. But, like, I don't like that thinking. Like, oh, so you're just going to wait for the dude to get tired. You were getting your ass kicked rounds 1 through 3. But all of a sudden you're going to dominate 4 and 5? Like, I get it. And again, I'm not trying to talk bad about the Diaz brothers. That's the last thing I'm trying to do. Because Nate's awesome.
They'll pull up on you.
I know. But I'm just like, Jorge dominated that fight. I think everybody knows that. Like, all the people I've been seeing talk on Twitter and the MMA community, they've all kind of said the same thing. Mm-hmm. Jorge was dominating that fight, so we don't need to see it again. But the ref took it away from us, so why don't we do it again and get a proper stoppage or a proper fight? So that part I agree with, running it back. So, you know, there's just 2 ends of the spectrum, in my opinion.
I'm very excited for this
I
fight.
just ranted. I'm sorry.
I'm very excited.
It's definitely exciting, but I just
I feel like you're
be the
going back.
same.
No, I want you to stick to your guns here, Dom.
I never said it's not an exciting fight, but I think it's going to be the same result.
I mean, it probably will be, but
And it's going to make a lot of money.
here's my thing, man. That fight was set up beautifully. You got 2
awesome.
guys that are just like, you know, they're bigger than the sport at that point almost. For Masvidal, he had the greatest knockout you'll ever see in the UFC.
When Diaz had that call out where he said, Jorge Masvidal looked good in his last fight,
Yeah.
I was like, oh no,
Yeah.
a fight I didn't even think about.
You see the poster. It's
Yeah.
got the like.
It had its own belt made, man.
Yeah, and the worst part about that build up was the
belt.
The belt. I did not like the belt, but you know what I did like about the belt?
The Rock?
The Rock was,
Yeah.
Rock was presenting it. Now, let's be honest here. I know Dom is a huge fanboy of The Rock, so I feel like he's going to get a little upset at me as saying this, but it really doesn't make sense for The Rock to be involved. Like,
Yeah,
you're talking about the baddest motherfucker. Like, look, The Rock's a bad dude.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I get
never
what
in
you're
his
saying.
career was he like,
Yeah.
like it would have made more sense for like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
If you're talking about like the baddest motherfucker, like
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Rock was always like he was electrifying,
Yeah.
like the people's
showsman.
champ.
Yeah.
But it was still badass to see him like
Yeah, that was so cool.
like that. I'll never forget that video. It was this quick clip the UFC put on Twitter. It was like the face off. And you have The Rock with the belt.
Yeah,
Holy
he's like,
shit.
Yeah, dude.
I was like, damn. But, look, Masvidal dominated that fight. He did. I thought he was going to knock him out.
I was surprised at how dominant
That
it was.
shin to the head and
Bruh, Diaz just ate that for breakfast.
but it
Oh, it hurt him.
oh, it hurt it.
But
Like, I thought that fight
any
was,
other dude, you're going to sleep.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And
It was a
Diaz-
shin to the face.
I guess this fight was the only fight that the UFC has really built since the real early days, where it was like they were pretty much setting it up to be like you're gonna find out who can withstand the damage, who
Yeah.
can withstand it all to be the baddest motherfucker. And it got stopped by the ref.
Yeah, that again. That's like I said.
At the time, I remember just being like, "Oh, Masvidal dominated. I'm cool with it," you know. But you hear all the fans booing. The Rock looks kind of sad.
Well, you promote this fight as who's the baddest man, you know, and
Yeah.
it's like
And then
the ref said, "I am."
The ref said,
You know, who's the ref for that fight? Give him the belt.
That New York City referee
Yeah,
who
man.
probably never watched a card in his life was like, "I'm the BMF."
I wish I remembered who the ref was.
No, not. Or wait, sorry, not the ref. Doctor stoppage.
Yeah, yeah. Or yeah, the doctor technically
Did I
stopped
say?
the fight.
Have I been saying ref?
Yeah,
stoppage?
we're kind of shitting on the ref.
No, I didn't mean the ref
We're not
didn't do anything.
apologize to the ref.
No,
the doctor.
The doctor stopped.
The doctor should have that belt in his office.
Yeah. Sorry, I feel like I've been saying ref the whole
Oh,
time.
I feel so bad.
It was
now.
probably Herb Dean too.
Yeah, whoever the ref was, we're sorry.
But I'm still excited for it because you have to think realistically here. So, what was the matchup I wanted to see most from Masvidal? Don't say it. I'm gonna say it.
Okay, good.
Leon Edwards.
Yes.
So, that was the fight to make in my eyes for Masvidal if you're talking like realistically rankings wise.
Yes.
But
Don't forget the three-piece in the soda.
Yeah, man.
There's
and there's
behind
history.
that.
There's history there. But look, Leon Edwards.
I know.
Like Masvidal wasn't gonna get half the money for fighting Edwards that he would have got in a potential Diaz rematch. It's just reality.
Yeah.
And nothing of Masvidal's quotes, even after the Askren knockout, have told me that he's all about the belt. I remember him one time. He just said he's like, I just want to get paid right.
Well, then after he lost to Usman, though, he's like, give me a full training camp and I want the belt again.
I mean, a title
You know
fight's
what I
always
mean?
gonna get you money.
You got to earn the title shot.
I
Nate
don't
Diaz
know.
ain't going to get him a title shot.
I mean, it might.
Well, knowing some of the decisions they make sometimes, yeah, because money talks and names are important. But like, I feel bad for Leon Edwards, dude.
I don't because I feel like I don't know if he would have won that fight.
I think
It kind of opens him up to fight. Really, he's kind of like in the clear right now. I mean,
Is he, though?
I mean, he's not going to get a title fight, but he's
So like, does he just fight?
he'll probably
after
fight. Maybe
Usman and
he
Burns?
might fight the winner of Covington Woodley, or well, I heard rumors about him versus Wonder Boy.
If I'm Leon, I'm not even accepting a fight unless it's a guy ahead of me or a title fight. He's on an 8-fight win streak.
Nah.
I'm
I just
saying.
don't care about Leon Edwards that much. I mean, okay, I shouldn't say that. I like the guy, but I'm not like there's nothing. None of his performances have told me that like, oh yeah, that dude's title challenger. He's good. He might even win the belt. He's that good.
Yeah.
But again, he's beaten these guys by like decision where it's not like it's kind of close, and sure, like that can maybe get you a title shot, but don't be upset, homie, if you get passed up by someone who's either knocking people out in 5 seconds or someone who's knocking out legends of the sport, dominating former champs like convincingly or whatever. Like, go in there and put on a show. That's what's going to earn you a shot. It's not just like, sure, if he just keeps on winning, he'll eventually get one. But that's the thing. He's just going to have to keep on going. And that fight with Wonder Boy Thompson would be huge for him.
Yeah.
And I'd be very excited for that. But, kind of just to bring it all back here, this Masvidal Diaz fight, ultimately, like, it's not the most realistic or the best fight for rankings, but it makes a lot of sense considering where both these guys are in their careers, where they're at in the sport. They're both pretty much bigger than the sport at this point. So I'm excited for it to match them up and to hopefully get a final ending to this. Now, if Diaz goes in there and wins,
well, they're gonna do a trilogy.
Maybe you do a trilogy, and hopefully The Rock's there for both. But
yeah,
it's I get
on both ends.
I get your point. Like again, if they would have done Masvidal Edwards, I would have been pretty excited because it made a lot of sense. But he won't. It's just the money thing. He's not gonna make the money.
Well, and like, what fight's gonna appeal more to the casual fan?
That's what I mean. It's the same thing.
So that's
money,
what it is. Money
fans.
talks, popularity. I get it. Like, I'm not saying like I'm not excited. Like, how can you not be excited for that fight? It's just like,
I'm surprised at how surprised you were because I felt like that was the fight that was gonna be made.
Really?
Yeah. Like
I mean, obviously, if
for
Masvidal would have won the belt.
For a while, I thought it could have been the Conor fight, but then that's just not really ever shown.
We'll see what happens. I'd like to see who else they put on the card, assuming it has to be the main event, unless there's like a heavyweight title fight in front of it. That's like the only option.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it'll be the main event, and it should be probably.
Apparently, January's the month where they just don't do title fights on the pay-per-view because Conor Cowboy was this year, and Diaz and Masvidal are going to be 2021. Yeah. So, again, fun fight, but I'm just half and half on it.
Last news story. not really news, but
I'm salivating looking at that picture.
Habib Nurmagomedov, the dominant lightweight champion, put a picture on his Twitter account. I believe that was yesterday.
Yeah, it was yesterday.
Showing what is potentially looking like the 5-fight main card for UFC 254. I don't know if this is true or not.
It will be if that gets signed.
Actually, I've been hearing rumors about that fight not happening.
Really?
Yeah, but
they're like, wait, what fight are you guys talking about?
But anyways, here's the 5-fight. It was, you got Habib Gaethje, Tony Ferguson versus Dustin Poirier. People with earphones in are freaking.
Sorry.
I hope nobody's parents walked in when I came on. That was cringy.
Sorry.
Zabit Magomedsharipov versus Yair Rodriguez. Yeah, hold it together over there, all right? Robert the Reaper Whitaker.
Bobby Knuckles.
Versus Jared Cannonier. And last but not least, Islam Makhachev versus Rafael.
The only thing I would change about that card is flip-flopping Cannonier and Whitaker.
Yeah,
and
I
Zabit.
just don't. I don't care. Like, it really doesn't matter.
Give me Habib and Gaethje first fight of the night.
Like, I don't care. Like, I don't care what the order is. Just give them to me.
I said this yesterday in our group chat, and I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to leave it at this. I'm not even going to go any more in detail about it, because, again, none of this is all officially confirmed. Mm-hmm. This is just a picture. If all 5 of these fights happen on that same card, and the fights live up to the names of the people involved, top 3 pay-per-view of all time. I just dropped my mic.
See, I won't. I mean, that's. Come on. You're saying if all the fights live up to what they can be, obviously that would make it a top 3. But that's kind of the point. Is a lot of times they don't live up to. Now, on paper though, this is stacked. For being a 1 title fight card, it's better than probably almost any 3 title fight cards you could put together right now.
UFC 200 looks at that and wishes.
Yeah.
Wishes.
The fight I was talking about that may not be happening is I've been hearing some rumors on the MMA Twitter that Zabit and Yair Rodriguez may not be happening, and Zabit might be getting the title shot outright.
I'm fine with that.
I am too, but I really hope this is the fight main card.
I'm looking at this.
Even if it's just 4 of the 5, like, dude, sign me up.
I would pay $100 to watch that.
Even if it's just 2 of the 5, those top 2, come on now.
I don't give me Ferguson Poirier, Habib Gaethje, 2-fight main card. That's it. $65. Here's my money. Just make the Ferguson Poirier 5 rounds to make up for the.
Yeah, I mean, all in all, like, wow, what a card that'll be. I just wanted to make note of it because like it was making a.
Well, yeah, I mean Habib tweeted that, so it's kind of a big deal.
A lot of people were talking about it. So all in all, though, we'll talk more about that when the time comes. Hopefully that'll be a huge episode if
we might be here for 4 hours.
Yeah, but all in all,
that's the news.
That's the news.
I do just want to point out one more thing before we get into the breakdown. By the way, be on the lookout for timestamps in the description because that was a long news segment.
It was.
We said for Wednesday's episode we would announce our results today for our part 1 of our Versus series. I'm just going to make sure I didn't miss anything while we've been talking really quickly. Sorry, there's like empty airtime, so I'm trying to fill it. So, again, we had our part 1 of our Versus series where Noah and I create our own pay-per-view cards and have you guys vote on which one was better. Part 1 ended in a tie.
A tie.
So there is no outright winner for part 1 of our series, but I did just want to throw that out and let you guys know. So be on the lookout for episode 2 of that series.
Yeah,
sometime in the future. Yeah. We're going to space them out because you can only make so many pay-per-views.
Yeah, you got to let the divisions run their course a little bit before we start talking about it.
It'll be a fun series, but not one that happens like monthly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
I just wanted to throw that out there, but it's preview time.
It is preview time.
I can't wait no longer.
And we're talking about hashtag UFC Vegas 9.
I'm telling you, we're going to lose count at some point.
Just going to run down the card here. So our main event, heavyweight action, Alistair Overeem going up against Augusto Sakai. Light heavyweight action. It's been rebooked. We talked about this fight before. Light heavyweight action, Ovin St. Preux going up against Alonzo Menafield. Then women's bantamweight action: Sajara Eubanks going up against Carol Rosa. Welterweight action: Michael Pereira going up against Zalim Idameyev.
Nice.
Featherweight: Brian Kelleher versus Kevin Natividad.
Nice.
Lightweight action to open the card: Thiago Moises versus Jalen Turner. That's right, it's a 6-fight main card.
I was about
bitches.
to say it.
6-fight main card, bitches.
Whoa.
They're coming in.
Whoa.
After last week with that 4 fights, they said, "Here you go. Here's an extra one. Here's a little cherry on top for y'all."
And who's bitches? I'm bitches. Me. That's me. That's me. Let's go, baby.
So Dom, first fight, lightweight action: Thiago Moises versus Jalen Turner. Tell the people, man. Break it down.
Is it time for my nitty gritty?
Oh yeah, time for the breakdowns. The notepad.
You know it's full. Alrighty. So again, lightweight action to start the night. We've got Thiago. How'd you say his last name?
Moises.
We've got Thiago Moises. He's 13-4. He's got 3 KO TKOs, 5 submissions. That's 8 out of his 13 wins have come via finish, and he is 3-2 in the UFC. I want to say one of those 3 wins came from the Contender Series. So again, you kind of know how I feel about that. I don't necessarily see it as a UFC win, but at the same time, you do.
Yeah.
So I did want to mention that. He has a notable win, actually, against Michael Johnson.
Yeah.
That's kind of a big deal.
It is.
A guy that you want to have on your resume in terms of a big name. And he submitted him with an Achilles lock.
Yes.
That makes me pained just to say an Achilles lock. I can't even imagine.
Look, Michael Johnson beat Dustin Poirier and Tony Ferguson.
That was Tony Ferguson's last loss before his 12-fight win streak.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, kind of a big deal. And then he has one notable loss, and that was against our boy Beneil Dariush. And that was by decision.
Yeah, it was.
So yeah, that's Thiago. And then our boy Jalen the Tarantula, is that what he's called?
Yeah, I think so.
Jalen Turner is 9-5. He's got 8 KO TKOs, 1 submission. You know what that means? He's a perfect 9-for-9 finishing rate. That's 100%.
100%.
And he is 3-2 in the UFC, also with one of those 3 wins from, you guessed it, the Contender Series. And then he has a notable loss. No notable wins yet, in my opinion. You could disagree. But he does have a loss against Vicente Luque.
I remember
by
that fight.
KO.
I remember that fight, too.
Yeah. Vicente is a freaking beast.
Yeah,
so that is definitely a notable loss.
No slouch there for a loss.
That's my nitty-gritty.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I'm. That's why I like to kick it to you, because you really come with the notes on, like, breaking down these guys' backgrounds. So then, ultimately, man, this fight has a lot of potential, definitely, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
All in all, I think I'm going to go with Thiago here. I think he's that Michael Johnson win, even though Michael Johnson seems to lose a lot.
Yeah.
Very impressive to me, and the fact that, like, you know, he did go to decision with Dariush. You know, Jalen Turner, again, the Luque fight, like, he's fought some. Yeah, I mean, that's a good guy right there.
That's a hard fight.
All in all, I think I'm going to go with Thiago, and I think I'm going to do it by submission in the, you know what, we'll just say first round.
First round submission, huh?
First round submission for Thiago Moises. It just seems like he's, he looked really good against Michael Johnson, man. I mean, Michael Johnson looked good too, and then he kind of just got caught. But that's, you know, Moises has shown, like, he's got a lot of submission finishes, man.
Yeah.
Jalen Turner's got to be on his game in order to avoid that, and I just think that he's the more proven guy, and he'll get it done.
I'm going to go on the opposite end of the spectrum here.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Jalen Turner, first round KO TKO, as a
Would
matter
be
of
the
fact.
first time he had been finished.
It would be Moises' first time being finished. All of his losses are by decision.
Yep.
You know what they say, Noah?
First time for everything.
I'm assuming he's probably an underdog in this fight. I don't know the betting odds.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I actually saw him fight on the Contender Series. I think he's very skillful, very young into the game still. And when your first UFC fight following the Contender Series is against Vicente Luque, I think that means they have faith in you.
Mm-hmm.
So again, he may be 3-2 in the UFC, but I think this is going to put him back on track, and it's going to be a good fight. I think
so.
even if it is just one round, I think it could be a barn burner. But I'm going Jalen, the Tarantula, first round KO TKO.
Awesome. So then on to our second fight.
I love this one.
Go ahead.
I really love it.
Well, you're big. Okay.
You usually announce them. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I'll let you do it.
Okay. Second fight, Brian Kelleher going up against Kevin Natividad. Brian Kelleher, one of Dom's boys.
Yeah, he's fun to watch.
He's fun to watch, man, and he's fought a who's who of
Yes.
that division.
Yeah.
Kevin Natividad, kind of a newcomer into the UFC. So
This is his debut, correct? If I'm not mistaken. He's coming from
LFA.
LFA.
Let me make sure because I've fucked up on this before.
I know.
It is his debut.
Yeah, coming from LFA,
He's
right?
coming from LFA, so another one of those prospects,
Yep.
guys who got sent to developmental. But Dom, go ahead with the breakdown.
This is an interesting one. So this is at featherweight, 145 pounds. Kelleher is 21-11, 8 KO TKOs, 9 submissions. So that's 17 out of his 21 wins via finish. He's 5-4 in the UFC. Notable win, believe it or not, against Renan Barão.
Yeah.
Now this is not the same Renan Barão that was at one point the best fighter in the world.
Right.
But that's a pretty big name to have on your resume,
I agree.
regardless.
Yeah, sure.
And then Brian has some notable losses to Marlon Chito Vera. You guys might have heard about him because he kind of just, stopped the Sugar Show.
Yeah.
So that was a submission via armbar. He also lost to John Lineker. I don't know why I just said his last name. He got KO'd in that fight. And then most recently, he had a very good 3-round war with Cody Stamann. And we kind of mentioned Cody a few times on this podcast.
No, that was a great fight.
Yeah, and Cody won that by decision. I think that was even at Fight Island, if I remember
It was
correctly.
UFC 250, so no, it was the month
Oh, it
before.
was still okay.
Yeah.
So that was his most recent loss. And then for
Sorry, go ahead.
for Natividad, again, not anything in the UFC. This is his UFC debut, but he is 9-1. He's got 5 KO TKOs, 1 submission. He's riding a 5-fight win streak, and again, he's debuting from the LFA.
Mm-hmm. Here's a fun fact for you before we. Another notable loss for Brian Kelleher. He actually lost to Jimmy Rivera in Bellator
Really?
back in 2013.
There you go.
Of course, by decision, the Jimmy Rivera special.
Are we surprised?
No, love you, Jimmy.
Yeah, we're not.
Your family's great people,
Yeah,
too.
we love your family.
But,
We'd love to have dinner sometime.
Dom, I've been thinking about this fight quite a bit, and this is a big step for Natividad here to go up.
This
against
is a
Kelleher.
pretty strong welcome
For
to
a
the
UFC debut. We just talked about a guy making his debut last week. Forget what that guy's. He went up against Ricardo Lamas. What was his name?
Algio.
Yeah, Algio.
Bill Algio.
Yeah, and I thought that it technically wasn't a debut. He fought in the
Yeah.
contender series. You know what I mean. But something about this fight, I think Natividad might get it done here.
I was gonna say the same.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm surprised. This is definitely like probably an underdog pick. I'm assuming. I think there's a reason why he's being given this high of an opponent early on. Because really, Kelleher, I don't think he's ranked, but
He's like,
Cody Stamann is ranked like 10th or 11th.
yeah, it's kind of like one of the dudes if you want to get really close to the top 15.
And it was a
Kelleher-
great fight.
Yeah.
So if he would have beat Stamann, he would be possibly a top 10
Well, and
guy.
Kelleher had a huge knockout literally only a few weeks before he fought Stamann.
Yeah. That's
So
Smith
he-
versus Teixeira.
Yeah, and now
Less
he's
than a-
fighting again.
Less than a month later.
Yeah, so Kelleher was on a riding a high when he fought Stamann, and that was a great fight.
Yeah, I'm going Natividad here by decision. That's the way I see it.
I'm doing the same exact
really?
thing. Yep, I'm also
Yeah,
going
I'm just,
Natividad.
there's just something about him. Like his one loss, funny enough, was in 9 seconds.
Oh.
He got knocked out in 9 seconds. So I saw that and that worried me a little bit.
yeah.
But to Glenn Baker, so shout out.
Shout out Glenn Baker.
Yeah. But overall, the rest of his career and what its trajectory is, he's coming from LFA, hasn't really had any other hiccups. He's had a few decisions more recently, but he's also been getting a lot of TKO and KO.
Yeah, I mean
finishes.
6 out of his 9 wins are.
So I could very much see this
stoppage.
being a KO either way, but I think this Natividad might be a guy that the UFC is really ready to bust out into the scene, and what a time to do it against a guy that always comes ready to perform. And I actually think this will be the fight of the night.
Dude,
Is that what you were
literally
saying?
was about to say that,
Yeah,
but we are on the same page with this fight. I think this is a 3-round slugfest.
I think so.
Kelleher brings it.
Kelleher's gonna bring it, and I just think old Quicksand, as they call him, Kevin, not TV Dodd. I think he might just be a little too young, a little too fast, maybe.
Yeah.
Should be very exciting though, as is what Brian Kelleher brings.
Yeah.
So on to our third fight.
Expect backflips and cartwheels and full
Welterweight.
tucks and all that other stuff.
Michael Pereira going up against Zalim Idamev.
Nice.
Go ahead.
Still 10 out of 10.
I think you're just saying that because.
Let me be your hype man.
Yeah,
Leave it at that.
All right, continue.
So Michael Pieta. Oh, did I do that good?
What the hell was that?
No, not good.
No, I mean it was
Okay.
just funny.
I'm just gonna go Michael. This man is 23-11, a true veteran. He has 10 KO TKOs, 6 submissions, but he is 1-2 in the UFC. Now, his notable loss is against Diego Sanchez, technically, but in that fight, Michael was dominating, beating Diego up badly.
Yep.
Unfortunately, he gets disqualified because of illegal knees to the head of a downed opponent. Diego gets the win. So, although he should be 2-1 with a notable win, he's 1-2 with a notable loss. And then Zalim, is that how you say it? He's 8-2. All 8 of his wins are by KO TKO. That's always exciting when you have a guy with a 100% finish rate. However, both of his losses are in the UFC. He's 0-2 in the UFC on a 2-fight losing streak. If we're talking momentum, it's definitely leaning toward Michael in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I'm a little surprised about this matchup.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Pereira's coming off back-to-back losses technically, and so is Zalim, but Zalim's only fought twice in the UFC. Pereira's fought 3. I mean, I guess technically it's only been 3 times, but you know what I mean? It's like he just seems like he's proven it more.
You talk about an exciting dude to watch. It's Michael.
Yeah,
He's like a welterweight Johnny Walker, but more crazy.
Yeah.
This dude literally did a standing flip onto a person in the middle of the octagon.
Yeah, it was
jumped
crazy.
up and basically kicked him because he fell on him. I don't even know how to explain it.
I know what you mean, though. It's like hard
this
to
dude's
explain.
crazy, bro.
All in all, I'm going Pereira, and I think he might even finish him here. This might be Zalim's.
Send-off?
Yeah, he's going to knock him out of the UFC. And let's go with the second round knockout. You were going to say the same thing, weren't you?
Yeah. What the heck's going on here?
We did not talk about this.
This has got to be the first time this has ever happened.
Well, the first fight we were different on.
Well, but we've had 2 back-to-back,
Back-to-backs,
same
yeah.
prediction, same
Yeah.
how they're going to do it and when.
It's tough to say. I mean, Zalim has 2 losses in the UFC. He lost a decision, and then he lost by punches in the second KO in the second round.
I will say,
part of me thinks like he knows that this is his last shot.
yeah.
So maybe we'll see a better version of him, but Pereira's got to be pissed about that.
Oh,
Diego
yeah.
Sanchez
He's
fight.
probably got a big chip on his shoulder. And for Zalim, like you said, a guy that's 0-2, he kind of needs a win.
Yeah.
That whole having 8 wins and all of them by finish, that intrigues me, but not enough to give him the dub. So I'm also going Michael with a second round KO TKO.
I think he'll show flashes.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
but ultimately it won't be enough to keep him under the UFC, unfortunately. So then our fourth fight, not the co-main though. Told you,
Nope.
6 fights.
Oh, yeah.
Women's bantamweight action. Number 15 ranked Sajara Eubanks going up against Carol Rosa. Dom, I know you have a little something for the people on Rosa. You're big on her, so
Yeah.
go ahead and talk about it.
I'm already regretting saying it, but I'm still going to do it anyway. So Sajara is 6-4. She has 2 KO TKOs. She's 3-2 in the UFC. She has notable wins, I should say, against Lauren Murphy, who, if you guys know, she's a ranked opponent, typically kind of like almost a gatekeeper, I guess you would call her. I don't know if she's even ranked now, but she's beaten her by decision, and she also has beaten Roxanne Modafferi by decision.
You were talking about Lauren Murphy.
Yes.
She's number 4 ranked flyweight.
There you go.
You said
She might not even be ranked now.
She's number 4.
I knew she's been ranked in the past.
I had to look because I wasn't for sure.
But yeah, and then Roxanne. I mean, literally, if you want to talk about pioneers of MMA, or for women's MMA, I should say, she's one of them. And although she's not been in the UFC, since 2013, when the women came into the UFC, she's been paving the way for women's mixed martial arts for years and has over 40 fights, if I'm not mistaken, which is crazy for women's MMA. So she has beaten her by decision as well. And then as a notable loss, she's lost to Aspen Ladd, not once but twice, but only once in the UFC, so I'll give her some slack there. That was by a decision. And then she lost to Betch Kohea, who just got cut recently by the UFC. That was also by a decision. Now, Carol Rosa. Up-and-comer, 13-3. She's got 4 KO TKOs, 2 submissions. She's undefeated in the UFC at 2-0. Now, none of those are notable, so I have no names to announce. However, she's on a 4-fight win streak and has won 5 of her last 6. When Noah came over to the studio today, I said a very bold, hot take that I'm a little iffy on now, but I'm still going to do it because I'm sticking to my guns. At some point in the future. Now, is it the near future? Probably not, because there's a woman named Amanda Nunes as the champ.
Right.
But I believe that Carol Rosa could potentially become the bantamweight champ at some point down the line.
Now Dom's going back on it a little bit. This man, when I walked into the studio, this man had the gall to say Carol Rosa is the future bantamweight women's champion.
I just said the same thing.
No, you said she has the potential
to
be.
She will be.
Call your shot. Babe Ruth that shit.
Carol Rosa will be a future women's bantamweight champion in the UFC.
You're fucking nuts. I'm just kidding.
No, you were waiting on that.
No, I was. I was waiting for you to commit.
You saw the fastball coming right down the lane, and you just hit a home run.
But you just called your shot. You Babe Ruthed it right there.
Yeah, and you Babe Ruth me. But that's okay. That's okay.
Did you want to continue with the
That's the nitty-gritty, yeah.
Fun fact with Carol Rosa, one of her first professional fights back in 2014 was a decision win over Jessica Andrade. And
we're pretty high on her, don't you think?
Yeah, some promotion. Overall, with this fight, man, I'm actually a little.
You're about to go underdog.
No, I don't know though. It's actually kind of a tough fight for me to predict. I thought Eubanks looked good in her last fight against Sarah Moras.
Mm-hmm.
That was on the Anthony Smith Glover Teixeira card. I can't say I know a ton about Carol Rosa. I mean, I remember her fight on Fight Island, but
she's well-rounded.
She is.
Is Sajara like a wrestler style, I feel like?
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
But a brawler, like she can throw hands, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
She kind of reminds me of, who's the woman that just got the huge upset against Agapova?
Oh, Shayna.
Yeah, I feel like they're sort of similar to me. Like
maybe that's why
styles.
I'm leaning towards.
Oh.
I'm going to go with Eubanks by decision here.
Really?
Yeah.
So I'm going to flip-flop from you. So we went 2 for 2, 2 in a row for the first time.
I had a feeling this.
But I'm going Carol Rosa. I'm going to go a third-round submission. Just to be a little iffy with it. Be a little, I already went off and said she's going to be the champ.
Be a little cheeky with it.
Yeah, a little spontaneous.
Yeah, sure.
And if she loses and ultimately never becomes champ, then I'm going to look like a dumbass. But
yeah, I mean, hey, I'm not saying she still can't do that. I just think Sajara might be slightly underrated to the casual view. I mean, 5-4, don't get me wrong, like not a great record. But that woman was looking like she might have been the first flyweight champion had she not missed weight, I believe.
Yeah, against Nico.
Yeah, because then that Modafferi had to step in. And
the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah, so overall, Sajara could have been the first flyweight champion over Nico. And,
well, how many fights has she had at bantamweight since she moved up? Do you know?
She literally is 1-2.
She's 1-2 as a bantamweight, so her.
Well, in the UFC.
Yeah. So in the UFC at flyweight, she was actually 2-0, and then chose to go up. Because she beat Lauren Murphy, so that's kind of surprising. I'm assuming it's just a.
I mean, that Modafferi fight, she did miss weight.
She did miss weight in that fight?
She missed weight
Okay.
by 2 pounds.
Well, that would make sense. I was going to say it's probably just a tough weight
She's
cut,
1-2 at bantamweight, but those losses are...
Those are no joke competitors,
Betch Correa and Aspen Ladd.
Another future champ, in my opinion, Aspen Ladd.
Ladd.
She's a beast.
So her last fight, though, she did look good, I thought. And I think it might just be one of those grinded-out decision victories for her. Maybe not the most exciting fight, but I think it's definitely... It's kind of a make it or break it for Eubanks here. This is definitely the time for her to really, if she really wants to be a contender and not a pretender.
Yeah.
This is a fight to make a statement.
And this is a fight where I think the UFC, they've been doing videos on their YouTube with fighters you should know about on these fight nights, which I think is really cool because there's so many fight nights now and there's so many people fighting. And Carol was one of the 3 mentioned, so it leads me to believe okay, they're high on this girl, just like Agapova was in the last video they did, and we saw what happened to her.
Yeah.
So, again, this could be a very similar situation to what we just saw.
Agreed. Moving on to our co-main event.
I'm most excited for this fight.
I'm very excited for it because we've already talked about it.
We've already broke it down, so we're not going to do it. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I'm going to stay pretty light on this one.
Yeah, I'm sticking to my same exact prediction.
Light heavyweight action, Ovince St. Preux going up against Alonzo Menefield. If you want to break it down again, you can. I mean, it's up to you.
I'll do a quick nitty gritty.
Yeah,
just
sure.
in case they didn't hear.
If you want to hear our full thoughts, it was on the...
it would have been Edgar Munoz. Right?
Yeah, Edgar Munoz.
So 2 fight nights ago.
Yeah, so if you really want to hear our full thoughts on this fight, go watch the preview for that card.
Yeah.
Should be towards the end. It was the co-main on that one, I believe, as well. So just feel free to go back there if you want to hear complete breakdown, but we'll give a hyphened version of it here.
Quick overviews for both. So Alonzo's 3-1 in the UFC. He's 9-1 overall. All 9 of his wins by finish, which I think is going to come into my decision because I'm not changing my decision. OSP, on the other hand, has finished 19 out of his 24 wins. He's 24-11 overall, 11 TKOs, and 8 submissions. And this is OSP's first fight back at 205 after that kind of rough outing at heavyweight.
Yeah, which I want to mention again.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that fight.
Yeah.
I think it's underrated. I think a lot of people shat on that fight because, OSP gassed pretty quickly.
Yeah, he did.
But, man, he looked good at times, and I'm kind of upset that he didn't stick with it, but maybe it was just too much weight for him to carry around.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
He is.
But...
I mean, he played college football, I
Yeah.
believe. And he was going up against Ben Rothwell, who's a veteran of the heavyweight division. Not an easy opponent at all for him. And Rothwell he's really good at grinding out those victories.
Yeah, that's exactly
just
what he
staying
did.
Up in your face and OSP hit him with some shots, man. But ultimately he did it wasn't the best performance for him.
Yeah.
So I guess it makes sense. I'm sticking with my prediction. OSP first round submission. I did say that. I'm impressed by Menefield, and I think it's going to be a situation where he'll legit possibly drop OSP.
Yeah.
And then maybe dives into the guard, and somehow OSP is able to kind of flip it or do some
Von
sort of
Flue choke.
Man, I'm not going to guess the Von Flue choke because that's a risky bet right there. But if there's one guy who will do it, it's obviously OSP.
For sure.
But I just think he'll somehow get slipped into a choke. Maybe it's just the youth of him, just thinking he's about to finish this veteran, a guy that's going to make a statement. But I just have a good feeling about OSP in this one. Could be completely wrong, but that's the way it goes in the fight game. So that's what I'm sticking with.
Now, if I remember correctly, I had Menefield by first round KO TKO.
Because we ultimately said, really, we're kind of predicting the same
Yeah.
trajectory for the fight. It's just you think he's going to finish it.
Yeah, so I'm completely changing my stance on that. No, I'm just kidding. Alonzo Menefield, first round KO TKO. This dude has got power in his hands, and as much as I love OSP, a veteran, always fighting, always putting on performances, I think Alonzo puts his name on the map. With this
OSP has shown some instances of having a weaker chin, not having the most granite of chin, I should say. He's been knocked out.
He's got a lot of fights, man.
Yeah, he's been knocked out, so going up against a guy with some big power shows a potential risk. I don't know, I just have a good feeling about him, but yeah, did you want to say anything else? Or
I am the most excited for this fight out of all six.
I am too. I'm not predicting it to be a fight of the night, but it
Yeah.
is one that's most exciting to me. And then, our main event of the evening.
The big boys.
The heavyweights.
Woo!
Alistair Overeem going up against Augusto Sakai. Break it down.
This is a lot.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So, if you guys don't know, Alistair Overeem is kind of a big deal in the world of mixed martial arts.
Yes, he is. The ageless wonder.
Yes. Pride, K1, you name it, he's done it, and he's fought the who's who
Even
of
say
all heavyweights.
Strikeforce, like...
He is 46-18. That's 64 pro fights. That's insane. Besides Alexei Oleinik, that's a big outlier. But
Yeah.
46-18. Again, I'm only going to go through his notable wins and losses for the UFC, but if you want to really get into this dude's career, he's got wins against everybody from every sort of organization.
Mm-hmm.
He has 24 KO TKOs, Noah.
Mm-hmm.
24. You know what shocked me more?
What?
He has 17 submission wins. 41 out of 46 wins via finish. That's insane. But he's only 11-7 in the UFC. Made his debut in the UFC in 2011. You know who that was against?
Who was?
Brock Lesnar. Ain't that crazy?
Yeah, and he kicked the shit out of that man's injured tummy.
Yeah, dude, that was brutal. So notable wins, again, Brock Lesnar, TKO. Frank Mir, unanimous decision. Stefan Struve, KO. Roy Nelson, decision. Junior Dos Santos, TKO. Arlovsky, TKO. Mark Hunt, knockout. Fabricio Verdum, majority decision, but nevertheless still a huge win. Alexei Oleinik, TKO. And most recently, Walt Harris made his return after a layoff, TKO'd him.
Yeah.
That's his notable wins. Now, I do just want to point out some losses.
He does have some notable losses.
He's got some notable ones. Bigfoot Silva got KO'd by him.
Yes,
Travis Brown, KO. Ben Rothwell, TKO. Oh, that guy named Stipe Miocic, kind of a big deal. We saw that one in person.
We saw that one in person, KO.
KO. Francis Ngannou, well.
Night.
Yeah, see ya. Curtis Blades.
That back-to-back right there, not a great time to be an Overeem.
His skull hurt.
Listen, man. Hold on.
His head's getting dribbled off of the...
No, listen, man. Listen.
And bruh, that Francis Ngannou knockout, you ever seen a big man fly? Because his body went... and then landed on the ground.
My man's toes curled up. My man was stiff as a board. Have y'all ever seen Ed, and Eddie? My man was cosplaying as Plank. And then he goes, all right, I've taken a few months off. I'm ready to come back.
Then he had his skull split open.
By Curtis Razor Blades.
It was a TV mature audience moment. We've talked about this in
for
multiple
my Mortal Kombat fans.
Kids, if you're listening, plug your ears.
There's a guy in the game named Baraka who's got blades that come out of his forearms. Curtis Blades hit him with the Baraka special.
Hey, what's Curtis's nickname?
Razor.
Yeah, Razor Blades. Well, he cut him. Let's just say that. And then one other notable loss for our guy, Rosenstrike, also put him to sleep. Then he got right back up, but still.
That knockout was so insane because
Overeem's lip was split two different ways.
It looked like someone who had just gotten hit by like a gust of wind from a tornado, and then his lip was just like off.
It just sounds like we just shit on Overeem.
My man's lip looked like the zipper was undone on his jeans or something.
Listen, Alistair Overeem is a legend.
We're
not taking it away from him.
But
boy, my God, he has been through the ringer, man. He has been there and done that.
I do want to just say, before you talk about Sakai, that Rosenstrike fight, he was winning.
Yes, yeah.
The knockout comes, fight's officially called 4 seconds.
And a lot of people have issue with that stoppage. Again, I didn't watch it live, so I'm
not going to argue it because
he got...
My man's lip Like, I was like, yo, kid.
Well, his body flew back into the cage.
Yeah, I'm like,
man.
kid, you forgot to zip up your jeans after you used the bathroom. It's like, oh, wait, no, that's just a man's lip.
Yeah. Yeah, it was bad.
Just open.
Hey, shout out to his lip for being able to heal quickly, though.
12 days later, just looked like nothing happened.
Yeah.
Crazy. Anyways, Augusto Sakai.
Augusto Sakai is kind of the definition of an up-and-comer, especially for the heavyweight division, because I feel like we don't see that very often for whatever reason. He's 15-1-1. He's got 11 KO TKOs. He's 4-0 in the UFC, one of those coming from the Contender Series Brazil version. So again, he's technically 3-0, but again, I'll throw the 4-0 in there. Notable wins against your boy Andre Arlovsky.
He's actually 4-0 outside of the Contender Series.
Well, there you go. So technically 5-0 if you want to get into it. He beat your boy Arlovsky. I know you feel iffy on that.
Yeah.
That was a split decision. He did knock out Marcin
That's definitely
Tybura.
That's definitely his most impressive win.
Yeah, and then he just had another split decision against Blagoy Ivanov. He has 6 first-round finishes, and he is riding a 6-fight win streak.
He's a guy who comes from Bellator as well.
But
only lost to Chet Congo.
I think in an episode last week I mentioned this could be like a passing of the torch type fight. I'm completely reverting on that statement. I have went back and watched his fights just to kind of get prepared for this week's preview. I'm not impressed at all. I think, again, I know you're going to get into this a little more, but I'm just going to do my prediction right now.
Yeah.
I think Overeem's putting him to sleep in round 1. KO TKO.
So, the thing with Sakai is the Tybura fight, he looked great.
Yes.
59 seconds.
Looked really good with a Muay Thai clinch, knees, elbows.
Chase Sherman looked really good in that fight. His Contender Series fight, he also looked really good again.
Yeah,
with
I watched that
the
one.
Muay Thai, the knees.
Yes.
He is like, the pressure was just intense.
He does have very good pressure.
But he is going up against just a guy who...
When you think of a veteran...
No matter how many times he gets knocked out, you will see, like, Overeem's style has adapted. He is a man who has adapted to the times over the years.
Yeah, he has.
And really knows, like, how to fight. The way he fights in 2020 is not the same that it was in 2003.
Yeah.
You know, he has adapted. Sure,
he fights a lot smarter.
His body is still the same body that went through his fight, so his chin isn't the same. Or, yeah, I mean, it's never... In the UFC, it's always been suspect. But that's the way heavyweight goes, usually. That Walt Harris fight, though, he did take a beating in that first round and came back and won.
Yeah.
Convincingly, I might add. I'm also going Overeem here. I mean, I was going to go by decision.
Changing your mind?
I don't know, because he's only got 5 decision wins. That's what's like...
Dude, 41 out of 46 by finish.
And Sakai brings the pressure...
I think he...
You know what? I'm gonna go Overeem by decision.
I am envisioning that Sakai pressuring in.
Yeah.
But Overeem's not just gonna let him manhandle him. He's too experienced. I think Overeem lands a big shot on Sakai coming in, drops him, and then from there finishes by ground
with
and
Sakai,
pound, type thing.
Ultimately, what's holding me back with him is those 2 decision wins. Blagoy Ivanov has shown that he's game.
He's tough. Yeah.
I mean, I know you were kind of like meh. But, I mean, he's also a guy
I think it was just more the fact that it was a split decision,
Ivanov
which means a judge gave it to Blagoy.
The thing about Ivanov is he's also been in some wars with... he had that split decision with Derek Lewis, a fight that a lot of people thought he won. So he's definitely a good dude, but it was just such... not a very inspiring performance. And then the Arlovsky fight was even less so.
Well, you think Arlovsky won?
I know I'm an Arlovsky fan. But even I can admit, Arlovsky is not the guy that... if you're someone who wants to be labeled a promising up-and-comer, you don't go to a split decision with Andre Arlovsky. You likely knock him out in a minute.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I love
guy.
my boy.
He's been through it all.
He's just like Overeem in that way, where
he's
been through a lot. But split decision, I was just like, man, that, no. And I thought he lost the fight. Yeah. I thought he did. I thought Arlovsky won that fight, and it just... And also, not a good fight.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm sticking with this. Is like he's had 2 wins where he's looked good. The Chase Sherman fight looked real good. That's definitely a step down though. He does come from Bellator, second biggest promotion. His only loss was against the Czech Congo by split decision. I just think Overeem is too good at this point in time. Sakai can maybe get there, but I'm going Overeem by decision.
The only thing that I get a little worried about, again, Sakai brings the pressure. He's going to try and land knees, short elbows in the clinch. All 7 of Overeem's losses in the UFC have been by KO TKO. So that part worries me, but again, I think he's way too experienced. And he's not just going to let Sakai hold him.
We have seen Overeem literally run around the cage. Remember that Stipe fight?
Like,
people started booing him.
Yeah, he's not going to just let Sakai... I think... It's safe
and
to
I
say
could
Overeem's
be
probably
wrong.
going to be stronger.
I could be wrong, but I think Overeem's going to be faster.
Yeah, I really think all around he's going to be the more... Again, experience is a huge factor in MMA. And, like, right here, 64 fights. Like, he's been through it all. He's seen it all. And I think he gets a big win here. A big bounce back win.
I completely agree. So, that's pretty much the breakdown here.
Yeah.
Overall, very excited for these fights. You guys can watch them on ESPN Plus, the undercard and the main card.
Is this an ESPN Plus
Yeah,
only?
it's an ESPN Plus, so you will have to pay your $5 if you want to watch it. But overall, it's worth it, man. $5 if you have it.
These
UFC's
are fight
bringing
nights
it.
that you can't sleep on. No matter if you don't know these people's names, that doesn't mean anything. They're gonna put on fights most of the time. Again, there's
good fights aren't made on paper; they're made in the octagon, Dom. I'm gonna keep saying it. That's why you should never miss a fight. Because for all you know, you're watching the next
champion,
or you're just
Superstar.
watching the next fight of the year.
Yep. I
But
couldn't agree more.
That's the breakdown.
There it is, UFC Vegas 9.
So breaking down our next couple episodes here. So Monday, we're going to be doing a full recap of UFC Vegas 9. Give you our thoughts on what goes down on Saturday.
Any news that breaks over the weekend. Hopefully an official announcement of Tony Ferguson to Poirier.
Yeah. But I digress.
Yes.
And then Wednesday, special episode time.
They're slowly but surely becoming my favorite days.
And this one's definitely special. This was something that we considered doing for our first special episode.
Yeah, we've talked about this. I remember when we were
This was my original idea. Like, when we pitched doing
the podcast as a whole.
Yeah, the special video idea. This was my first idea I pitched to you for it.
Yep.
And we've held it back. You know, we did our top 10. We thought that might be a better idea, and I agree. And we've been holding off on doing this because it could come off maybe being a little too similar. But I think you'll be surprised by how different it is in the same vein. We're going to be doing our Mount Rushmore of MMA.
So kind of explain to them why this is different than our top 10 fighters.
So when we're doing a top 10 fighters of all time, it's sure you can take into account, you know, what they like, their impact and whatnot. It's not always just about the wins and losses, but for the most part it is. You know, a guy like Demetrius Johnson is undisputably a top 10 UFC fighter of all time. Probably not a guy on the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
The Mount Rushmore to me is 4 individuals.
Now this is going to be for the UFC.
Or sorry, Mount Rushmore of UFC. Yeah,
okay, I was just looking at the sheet. I just wanted.
Sorry, I said MMA, but
that
UFC.
Yeah. That'd be a list and a half.
Yeah. So
this is going to be the Mount Rushmore of the UFC.
Right.
But go ahead.
And the Mount Rushmore, like the way I see it, is just the 4 individuals whose impact was the most integral to where we are now.
Pioneers. In one way or another.
Yeah. Like, sure, you look at the actual Mount Rushmore and you may go, who are those guys?
Yeah.
Some people might. And some people might go like, oh, like, why are they being revered so much? Like some of them, you know, I don't.
Yeah.
Just saying. But it's just about, like, ultimately, we just want it to be like,
without these what is Mount Rushmore? 4 people, right?
Yeah.
So without these 4 people, would the UFC be where it is today?
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to put it.
And this is a great opportunity for me and you to kind of talk a lot about history of the sport.
Yes.
Something that has been basically my whole entire pitch for these videos was so I could, because I'm a big historian of the sport, and I know you are too, and it's a time for us to really dive into that kind of stuff. So I'm very excited to talk about that. Because I think you guys are going to be surprised when you find out that just because someone's the best fighter of all time doesn't necessarily mean that they are the most integral to the sport.
100%.
As surprising as that sounds. So be on the lookout for that on Wednesday. And Dom, tell the good people where they can find you on social media.
You can find me personally on Twitter and Instagram at dslee14. As always, our podcast Instagram. Again, you can find that in the channel art of our page or in the About Us portion. And again, if you just want to look us up, it's at Below Average Joes _podcast. And usually I transition right into you.
Right.
I do just want to, on this Friday, I just want to say I hope everyone has a great weekend to kick off the month of September.
Agreed.
But now, take us out, Noah.
I completely agree. Viewers, have a great weekend. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at ntbaker_. And with that, we're out, and we'll see y'all on